Mr. Monaco, my country in the past few days is facing several hacker attacks to the government sites, which are for the most part using Drupal and WordPress. How safe are these platforms, and can these attacks be prevented?
So it's usually actually safer to go with something like WordPress or a bigger company, since they have the cybersecurity resources to keep something online. But sometimes there are issues, and sometimes DDoS attacks come at such a volume that they even take down these big sites. So normally it would be helpful to be using something like WordPress, but unfortunately it sounds like the hackers have used such a volume that it's taken down the government sites.
What's the best way in preventing this kind of attacks? Bigger servers, bigger security?
Yeah, that's spot on. Basically, you need to have servers that can handle a huge incoming capacity of traffic. The flip side of that is that you have screening as well. So you have certain IPs that are blocked. So if you hit beyond a certain traffic threshold, or you have IPs that are coming from, I don't know, say a North Korean browser or whatever it is, IPs that have caused problems in the past, you can immediately refuse those. So blacklisting and just having servers that can handle more traffic.
With the coronavirus, there is a large amount of false information on the internet, and especially on the social media. As a misinformation specialist, how easy it is to spread false information online and on social media, and how to prevent them?
Yeah, so it's troublingly easy, I would say, right now. Even if you're not a bad actor, even if you're just an average citizen, and you're you're retweeting impulsively, or you're sharing things you see on Facebook without thinking about them. One of the tough things about coronavirus is we're still very much at the beginning of it, right? We're learning more about the virus every day, but we still don't know that much. So sort of health situations like this, where we're still learning things, are really an ample, a fertile environment for spreading false information, even if you don't mean to. So it's pretty easy right now, and there are a lot of people who are doing it intentionally and spreading disinformation with the intent of basically deceiving a public or lying to a public.
Can people actually profit from false information on social media?
Yeah, definitely. We call these financially motivated actors. So basically the setup is the ad infrastructure on many websites is such that the more traffic you have on the website, the more money you generate from the website. So as long as you are generating traffic to a website that has advertising and you have it set up right, which is pretty easy to do, you can generate money off of that traffic. And this is something we've seen. This was actually the model that some of the basically fake news farms in Veles used in 2016. They were financially motivated, just trying to make a profit off of clicks.
You've mentioned Veles. The United States has an upcoming presidential election. Hackers from Macedonia were highly influential during the elections in 2016. Do you expect the same amount this year?
Of disinformation?
Yes.
It's a good question to ask about the amount. Long story short, yes, I think is the answer. Yes, at least as much. Basically, on one hand, the good news is that social media platforms like Twitter and Facebook have really invested resources into attacking this problem. So we're better prepared in that sense than we were in 2016. On the other hand, on the government side, not a lot has been done in terms of regulation or proactive takedowns or notification or anything like that. So we're kind of ill prepared as far as the public sector goes. But there's just a lot going on. There's a lot of actors in the space with the coronavirus crisis going on. The combination of health and political disinformation is it's unlike anything I've seen.
You're also an expert for political bots and trolls. Can you explain what that is, and in your experience, what is the prevalence of political bots and trolls in the Balkans and Eastern Europe as a general?
Sure, yeah. So bots are basically computer programs that pose as humans online. So you can program a computer to own a Twitter account and talk to other people, basically, with varying degrees of success. And then trolls are essentially humans who are controlling an account that basically interfere with discourse or engage in manipulation in some way. And there is a little bit of gray area. You can have an account that's a cyborg that is controlled by a human during the day and a bot during the night, say, or something like that. It's kind of controlled by both. In the Balkans, personally, independently, I studied the online atmosphere on Twitter during the name change referendum for North Macedonia a couple years ago. And I can say personally there was a lot of bots going on in the data that I gathered, and this has been corroborated by places like the Atlantic Council's Digital Forensics Lab. Bots were a huge part of the Twitter online atmosphere in that referendum. A small number of accounts generated a whole bunch of the traffic around the referendum and said we should boycott, boycotterum, as I'm sure you're familiar with. We should boycott this referendum, basically dissuading voters or attempting to dissuade voters from turning out.